on issues of war, continuing videos on April 17th, 2020, from where I sit. There are things going on that are wrong. Number one, my realization has been that on my return from Chile while in Miami, Florida, after having spent 2 nights at the Four Seasons in Miami, in downtown Miami, the forces of war managed to corner me into a medical situation where my anatomical venal structures were affected. Anatomy is clear. The veins go from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. It's the line of a person. Arteries go from the bottom of the feet to the top of the head and through the heart. And veins are an opposite directive movement for excretion and for breathing out toxins. It's the definition of what a vein is. An artery pumps blood, and a vein is a way to have a flow of blood that is meant to be excretion in sort. It works as a concept. And it seems in a medical procedure that was forced on me, in which my venal structures were affected, that they managed to create a loop on my foot in which the veins turn around. That would mean my life is conditioned by a modality of excretion of toxins that is not my natural gaze on the world. At some point, that's going to coil into itself and mean death. I'm almost not sure how that would happen. It could be a weight on the heart that at some point is going to give out. I'm a cardiologist. It'd be a thing to say, but I haven't thought it out and I'm not sure. In any case, with that procedure was indicated finagling a way to use me, either as a recipient of drugs, as a modality of pregnancy, and then getting drugs from my pregnancies, which would all be aborted by definition of the venal structure, etc. So in that capacity of using me, I have been living nonetheless. Life is a forward trajectory. We are human beings of consciousness. Physicality is the modality of life. In the face of what you're doing, one could say physicality is half the modality of life. It's what makes human consciousness possible. Life continues to move forward. Every day exists with facts and the reality for life that means to one person or to life altogether. Within the fact that you found a medical method of actually using me is what I've experienced since then in over 3 years of that experience of my life. In my observations now in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it seems after shutting down the United States of America with the COVID-19 virus, you are trying to take measures to open things back up. For example, the pools are all full and look like you're testing chemicals in water. It looks like you want to open up the pools or something. I think you've also used pool water for other things like continued drugs and experiments on nuclear energy. So all of this is concerning, whether you're trying to open back up spaces of living and you're focusing on pools, whether you're using pool water for thoughts on energy, bombs, nuclear energy, energy from hydrogen, which is a force of concentration that has energy and power. It's a classic. Or whether you use chlorine water for a chemical gradient that allows you to continue with all the drugs that have indicated drugs you use to live and how you want to use me for those drugs. All of that is concerning. In my hotel at the Best Western Magnolia Manor in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I was put in a king room, which is actually okay, but that is an imperative of a life I've asserted. And many contacts and emails and my own writing that put an imperative of problems on any sustenance of administration here, and certainly the hospitality industry, which has a name of its own. Nonetheless, the room, while it was set up in a decent way, the bed was made all right, and tables look clean and all that, is right at the beginning of the hallway and near a staff door and the stairway. I just walked down the hall to get ice, and I looked out at the window. The window gives out on a pool, on a parking lot, on palm trees. And then I walked back to my room. So in all theories and common understanding, you gave me the worst room you could be permitted to give me. There are imperatives you had to listen to. I still have a decent room, but it would be the worst room you could give me. A nicer room would have meant something connected to, I don't know, the pool perhaps. It's classic understanding. It's half not what I really think, because the area is drab and dismal. I'm right near a highway. I find beauty on it as my own perception of travel in the world. But because of that, the other rooms would give out on a parking lot. Palm trees is imagination too. It's not necessarily real, and that's not so nice. The pool is an idea, but if you're using it as an idea of drugs and bombs, it could be odd and concerning as an experience. So having a room that looks out on a highway and is right near a nicer part of the architecture of the hotel and flower beds could work out. Once the staff starts using the staff room, it could be terrible, but again, it's not my choice. I'm also just surviving. What is more concerning is the perception you have to live by. Somehow, in this setup, the room you gave me is the worst room you could give me. You would have to concoct a reality in which you gave me a beautiful king room looking out on the pool, and being out on the pool was a wonderful experience. Even if the pool was shut down, or especially if the pool was shut down because of the COVID-19 asserted situation. So, by all common understanding, you gave me a room, it's decent, but it's the worst room you could give me. And that, combined with my observations of how you're trying to do things that look normal and have also been connected to war, is all concerning. Let's take a normalized situation. If you're trying to open back up hotels with pools while I'm living this part of experience and have been given the worst room at the hotel, what are we talking about? Do you have the money for this? Have you been robbing from me so that you have the resources for this? It means a genuine concern of war. Because where I see things now is things have been shut down. I've continued living outrage and blasphemy. And it's time to just shut it all down. fast. Anytime I speak, that's where I'm coming from. If you're doing something to complicate what we're seeing or what I'm seeing, it means being aware of that. I have no purview of understanding other than only sharing that observation. Have a nice day.